Hello everyone, in this video clip, Roo Yori and I discuss how our treatment of dogs, and especially pit bulls in our society, can really mirror treatment of other humans. There's a lot of interesting similarities in how we might judge people based on how we assume they should act versus the differing reality of how they do act. Roo especially talks about how Wallace received some unfair treatment in the shelter where he was, and he was a problematic dog, but there were also dogs that were causing problems that didn't look like Wallace and were treated a bit more gently because of that. Roo also talks about what he's learned from Wallace in the vein of dedication, not worrying about what other people are telling you and going forward on your path, and just putting in the effort every day. He also talks about how Wallace has taught him to overcome fear. Roo gets into some of this content in a piece he wrote for the Huffington Post on fear, but he dives more into the personal applications of this concept in this part of the interview. In addition, we talk about his definition of success and how that's changed over time. Also, check out the other video clips I have of Roo's conversation and our full video conversation, which will be linked below. In these clips, we talk about his journey with American Ninja Warrior and also how he created a bucket list for his dog Wallace after he was diagnosed with cancer. Finally, keep an eye out for the podcast episode for this conversation. It'll be coming out in about a week, where we dive into some of the concepts we didn't have the time to explore in the video clips. But without further ado, here is Roo Yori.
We had our other dog, Hector. And it was interesting talking about like preconceptions and stereotypes and all that kind of stuff. Hector was the dog from the Michael Vick case that we adopted. He was from a dogfighting situation. And he was a freaking rock star. And it was like, we don't know what we don't know until we actually go in and find out. I had, even myself, wanting to speak up for these dogs, had my preconceived notions about Hector. He had scars all down his chest. We wanted to adopt a dog from that situation because we thought it'd be a great opportunity, not only for them, but to continue what we were doing with Wallace on a bigger scale, to help dogs everywhere. That was our goal for that one. And, just even with that in mind, I had preconceived notions about Hector.
Okay.
How could a dog from that situation with scars down his chest be good with dogs? And we have Wallace, who actually was raised with another dog, and he wasn't good with other dogs, And if you took those two side by side, and you had to pick which one was the dog that wasn't good with dogs, which one did you pick?
Yeah,
right?
I think that Hector would.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's just like, but that wasn't the case, and so it really drove home that, we all have our opinions, but a lot of times those opinions may not be knowledgeable ones, and so just keep an open mind as far as trying to prove yourself wrong.
Even how you said that he was treated a little differently because he was a pit bull, and maybe he wasn't, any worse than some of the other dogs who were misbehaving, but because he was a pit bull, he was treated a certain way. That translates so well into the world, I think, too. Like, there's just, people are judgmental, and all these people don't get a chance to recognize. These dogs all agree. They're like, yeah. Bring it home. The one I have, I don't want to misquote you, so I want to bring this out because I just love what you said here. But this is from the article I was talking about, and it's a comment you made about fear. And you said, fear is an interesting thing. On one side, it makes us cautious and can keep us safe. On the other, it can imprison us by limiting what we're able to experience. How we choose to respond to our fears can dictate our lives quite a bit. Were there ever times where you let fear dictate decisions in your life, and how do you prevent that from happening now?
Or all the things that we're faced with on a daily basis, you have to make a choice on all of that. And I used to, and I still do, I kind of go over that over and over in my head. I'm like, am I making the right choice? Am I doing the right thing? What's going to happen if I do this and I try and step through it? If I do this, I step through that. And then, when you get too wrapped up in that, that's when I start doubting, like, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah, that's debilitating.
And so you just have to, I've gotten a lot better now, as a result of this, just to be like, weigh the options, make a choice. If it doesn't work out, it's not this end of the world situation. That's, in my opinion, when we learn a lot as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you find out who you are when things aren't going your way. And I think a lot of people use fear too, like, you know, if they're fearful, they try and almost instill that on others, trying to protect them and keep them safe. And like I said, there's certain truths to that, you know, like, you know, I'm not saying don't be afraid of anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think a lot of those things are just because people aren't knowledgeable about the situation, and so it really, like you said, imprisons you. And
like, that's so useful, and I love how that came out of a situation with a dog a type of dog, a breed that strikes so much fear into people. I think that's beautiful. When do you feel most successful, Roo? This is a hard one. I think it's ongoing, but right now in your life, where do you think you define success?
I think there's different versions of it for me. Personally, I feel successful when I overcome something that I wasn't able to do previously. You know, because then that's showing that I'm learning and I'm growing. You know, whether it's, you know, not just necessarily skills like, oh, now I can go up a 15-foot warped wall instead of a 14-foot warped wall. You know, it's like, there's a lot of people that, you know, we have these differences in opinions, and unfortunately, especially on the social media world these days, you know, it becomes a debate, it becomes a fight.
Is that a problem?
It becomes a fight. It becomes
People are
like
always civil on social
media. You know, right? You know, and it just turns into this thing that it doesn't really need to be. And so, you know, when I can take something like a controversial topic like pit bulls or, you know, whatever that is, and have a conversation with somebody, a civil conversation with them, and like, you know, I'm gonna learn from them. Hopefully they'll learn from me, and if we can, you know, kind of continue to deal with things that way, you know, it's pretty cool experience in my mind, because while there are really ignorant, hateful people out there, I don't think most people are. At least I try to believe that. Meet halfway, respect the other side, and have a conversation, because very few things are black and white. You know, and there's a lot of gray in there, and I think that we need to converse about the gray a lot more than argue about the black and white extremes.